This has got to be my favorite ransomware of all time. I didn't even know what I was going to even talk about this time because it was just chaotic, but I actually had a lot of intriguing thoughts. At least I think it was intriguing. But yeah, this one is very disturbing. But even despite that, I had some, like, the theories and thoughts that I had, I don't know, I'm just going to share them with you guys. The video we're getting into today is by Karl X, and it's called FNAF 2 Malignant. It's described as a random free fan game on the internet, and we'll come to find out the truth about this and why it's not just about ransomware in the slightest. You'll see what I mean, but first I have to take you guys through the actual video. Starting off with the title screen at the game's opening, and like, to see is so good. Like, I just knew this was different. I could tell this was scary before even watching this. So the current game, quote unquote, begins as a fan game downloaded by the player, and upon entering the game, it's posed as the night guard entering the pizzeria, like normal, I guess, and then you faint and black out and apparently end up in hell with demons. Now, the only time I've actually seen something like this is, what was it? FNAF Weird Mobile Port, I think, had this concept. But yeah, this concept has appeared in other FNAF ransomwares, though it's few and far between. The animatronics are obviously not normal. These things feel possessed or corrupted. And I always ask myself why and what the reason is. Ransomware is meant to just steal and encrypt your files, and it's kind of just like quick and over and done with. It's not really meant to feel threatening or strike fear. Like, as soon as you execute the program, your system is cooked. But the game just waits for you to keep playing, and it's like it wants you to keep playing. We begin to witness attacks by these things like I don't know, I feel like I'll just call them demonic entities. They're absolutely malicious as they reach out for the player, and I don't even know how I guess they come in through the vents or something, but they're just there and you have no actual mask or defense at all. Also, these things just look terrifying, but it's so cool, and I really love how they made this design. It's not absolutely crappy. It's not look like it was made with Play-Doh either. This is actually great design. Actual scary ransomware is hard to come by sometimes in this economy. Even though you're not given any defenses, you're given a crucifix to sort of defend yourself, but the button says attack, so you're actually attacking them. Crucifix for the win. And it's very powerful because these things scream as soon as you use it, which shows these things are, yeah, well, I guess like the game says, these things are demons. So the eyes, the noises says it all. But why create a world just like this? It feels too like real. It feels too intentional. I personally believed it wasn't even a fan game at first. Like, I literally thought this was like a real thing, like within the video, not someone just playing a game. Despite defending yourself, you actually need your cameras, not just to see the horrifying entities that want to end you, but there's these weird things. It's like little bits of malware, these well, you could call them remnants of lost souls if you want to call them that, if you want to interpret it a certain way, or maybe even worse than that. But if you want to look at it from a more surface level standpoint, it's probably just bits of malware just laughing at you. These things are clearly malicious and want to go against your survival, although we don't know what happens if you don't get rid of them, but that's what the player does, and you must use your cameras to get rid of these things. So basically the game goes on, and it kind of repeats itself. So one of them attacks, you open the cameras, and then you just, you know, get in the rhythm of it. But then there's this weird Sonic ad, and I almost kind of skipped over this and I almost ignored it, but I feel like this is actually important to my entire point, or well, there's multiple points, but basically we get a Sonic ad, and it's like another corrupted Sonic game, which I can only assume is from the same website that the person downloaded this ransomware from, right? And I also assume that it's by even the same creator, especially with that little bit of text saying I'm already on your PC. This could be foreshadowing another video by Karl X when we're talking about like the actual channel, but within universe it could show something else. But yeah, I have reason to believe that this is another game by by the person who made this fan game. I'll get more into that later, but something tells me they're after a certain type of victims or a certain demographic that are lured by game characters such as Sonic or FNAF characters. But again, why? Also, on the actual ransomware side of things, I thought this was a cool detail. Although it's a small detail, it doesn't really mean much to the actual freaking video, but still. You can see HTTP here in the website URL, and I'm not gonna bore you guys with the specifics and everything, like this is a classroom, but it would be like showing shadiness because HTTP isn't secure at all. So any download or transaction of data or information can be seen by somebody. Now, that doesn't really have to do with ransomware because you want the person to install your thing if you're trying to have ransomware on someone's computer. But I feel like that goes to show, since it has no encryption on the website, it kind of just means that any transaction you made, like any accounts you make on that site or anything, you know, it could just make you more vulnerable for attacks. Especially if the creator of the website also made these games that are on the website. I'm basically trying to dig into what type of malicious intentions does this creator have. But yeah, by this image alone, it's kind of made clear that the player who downloaded this game is already screwed over. But fighting against the odds, the player continues to triumph and actually do really well until some mysterious force decides to take their only form of defense away.
Let's see how long you can go without it. Little Cassidy. Little Cassidy.
I don't think this is random by any means. Well, obviously it's not random because the dude literally says, let's see how long you do without it. I just feel like that's so cheap. Whether the demonic entities were scared away, destroyed, or hurt or whatever, or call it off, we seem to see a different type of threat. This guy does not really care whether he's attacked or fended off. He doesn't share a similar resemblance like Toy Chico or Freddy, where they're just like really creepy looking with the eyeballs and stuff. Like, I don't know. I wonder if something is inside the suits even. That would be crazy. But we're not going to overthink it. We're just going to talk about resemblance, because if you look closely, at first I was thinking that this was a corruption of one of the shadow animatronics, but it's anyone's guess until you kind of see that it's really just Withered Bonnie. But it's kind of weird though. And it's actually the reason why I suggested that Toy Chica and Freddy had something inside their suits, although I still kind of doubt that myself. It's the fact that we see Withered Bonnie, and Withered Bonnie is missing a face, right? It's part of his costume. And we see this realistic face, and it's kind of similar to what you start to see on the cameras later on. But without any defense or attack, the player only has the ability to just cover their eyes, which is actually an interesting mechanic of choice, since it seems to work against the sudden threat. And he just keeps saying, look at me, like that's the only source of power that he has. This thing obviously just charges in. It sounded, oh my gosh, man. You just hear the steps. It's kind of scary, but he just wants to be seen. And maybe it's like Bird Box. Maybe this is the Bird Box monster or something. But yeah, the face-off slash one-on-one with this thing actually lasts quite a while. And it's like 5 AM just stretches on and on. Remember those bits of malware from before though? Or, well, I'm just gonna call them bits of malware. I think it sounds cool. They either changed or they got worse, or these are just completely different things entirely. I don't know. They're just made of screaming faces, but what I think is that there's just way more behind this game than what meets the eye. I really do feel like there's actually something behind this game, whether it's intentional or not. It's quite normal to see this kind of disturbing stuff in the ransomware game, but I don't know, it's just less about random chaos and it feels way more intentional. It feels different at the end of this too. 5 AM stretches out until it feels like an eternity, or maybe it's just me, maybe I was getting impatient or something, but the most valuable piece of information so far, besides the obvious corruption of this game, and yes, again, I'm saying corruption. I will tell you why, but first we get to the end of this. But again, this is another anchor to some of my thoughts about this, because we know that this is somebody playing a game within the video.
Little Cassidy. Little Cassidy.
So much for playing my game. My intention was to make you believe that it was, in fact, of that game. You believed in it without knowing it. Let's be in. Now I have total control over your computer. Allow me to reveal what's really behind this game. Just don't take your eyes off the screen. The fun is just beginning.
The game is finally completed. There's no end credits, and it seems like the clock turns back to 1 a.m. And I wonder why it's 1 a.m. in particular, but there's no real ending or good job, no paycheck either. And we get to meet the creator or the developer of the game. No fan game has messages like this at the end. Or no ransomware video, I don't think, has messages like this at the end either. We see the true intentions and the true threat of this game. Now, anyone would assume that ransomware slash malware was installed on that player's computer slash device, and I don't disagree at all, because it literally says installing like Morse X or pack or something like that. So yeah, I mean, safe to say his system is screwed. He literally says, "I'm in your computer, you let me in, you're a fool." But the screaming faces right when this happens and the text saying "you are ruined," it just feels more like, it feels beyond ransomware. Why put a player through so much mental torture? Why make them feel traumatized? It feels really intentional. Obviously ransomware, normal ransomware, wouldn't set up such a trap, or it'd be over and done with. But this has what it feels like, spirits within the game. Like, I know it says like demons in hell and stuff like in the fan game, but I'm starting to question if this stuff really has something in the game. And even if it doesn't, I feel like there's still a deeper goal behind it. Like, the developer doesn't want this person's files just for fun. It feels like this program is also designed to attack the player more than the system. Hurting their system only feels like a small added bonus. Okay, I've said a lot about this. So it's like, how deep can ransomware be? I don't think it's that deep. That's what you're probably thinking. The game was meant to be ransomware, and yet I can't help but feel like something actually happened to the player. Like I've said before, the game feels like it wants you to keep playing, keep looking, and to keep trying to defend your sanity as much as possible. The absolute malice this game harbors feels just way too personal again. It leads me to think that the creator is after something more. I can't really identify something specific, like a specific label, because not much is revealed other than ransomware or malware being installed on the computer, but I just genuinely feel like there is more to this. Now, I know we already dealt with an entity haunting a console and taking the souls of players, you know, it's nothing new, but this feels too similar. However, I won't say this absolutely for certain. The creator may be sadistic, wanting to terrify the players that download the game, and the players just become victims. It could be any kind of threat that the developer would make, like, oh, I'll release this, or oh, I'll show people that, or oh, you'll never have this device again. And I would say that if it was like just a simply disturbing FNAF game, but this FNAF game has something very, very specific. Demonic entities, a crucifix, things that are coming after you and you have to look away, you can't look at them. Things that are screaming at you and laughing at you, taunting you. Now, we're gonna come back to the Sonic ad actually. My immediate idea is that the creator has more than just FNAF in their grip. That being said, it's entirely possible they have Sonic's world / game infected as well. It's possible they have multiple franchises that would lure in victims who would be, like, again, young people, teens, not anyone who's like Old Man Jenkins. Old Man Jenkins. So like before, this person's clearly after a certain demographic, and you do probably get more downloads because people love free games. I remember I would look for free Sonic games and I would just get these Flash games. No regrets for me though. The Sonic ad also reveals that the website is, well, not safe or secure at all. And these games, like all the games on the website, are probably malicious. It's not just one of the games. It's not just 2 of them. It's probably all of them. I mean, just look at the face of Sonic and Tails. Like, look at how they are. Why is the style like that? If you truly wanted to attract someone to your free games and download them, wouldn't you want it to seem friendly? I can understand for Five Nights at Freddy's, right? People love a fan game that's very quirky, you know, ransomware and stuff. People love that. I love it. I'm making a video on it. But for Sonic, it makes no sense. That's out of character. If it was like a Sonic.exe horror game or something like that, that would make sense. But this, it's supposed to be a normal Sonic game, as far as I can tell. Now, I've also suggested before that it's possible this ransomware thrives on fear and attention. This corrupted withered Bonnie shows that in some kind of weird way. That's kind of why I came up with this whole thing as well. There isn't much to go off of for this idea, but I'll call this the TAM, or the attention mechanic. And I'm gonna link this to the ransomware entirely, not just the withered Bonnie part where you have to cover your eyes, but the entire game as a whole. I'm telling you though, the creator of this game wants something more. It's kind of clear in the speech he gives. He doesn't just want something so surface level. He actually enjoys the torment of the player and giving attention, playing the game. That fuels whatever goal that creator has. Not to mention the corrupted Bonnie in particular. Why is there a realistic face? Is it implied that something is actually in this game or inside the characters? Is it implied that the Bonnie wants something from the player or is trying to show them something? There is so many different ways I could go about this. After all, since it seems connected to the faces inside the cameras, we've never seen those faces nor this Bonnie physically attack at all. It's like they're trying to keep you from something. But more than likely, that's just beating the game. By no means am I saying that they're misunderstood or they're good guys, because I highly doubt that with the way they're coming at you. However, there's definitely a reason this mechanic was introduced. While on the other hand, the other demonic entities were fended off by the crucifix. We don't even know if those entities in this one are of the same type, because it just doesn't make sense that one is fended off by a crucifix and then one is just, you have to look away. That's kind of off, and I feel like that was just done on purpose. But this is the biggest component of my whole attention thing. Our antagonist says, don't take your eyes off the screen. Of all the final words to say to the player, why don't take your eyes off the screen? It further adds to the idea that the attention the player gives isn't just fuel, it's not just, you know, whatever up in the air, but necessary for the creator, for the ransomware. This one line is actually one of the major anchors to my thoughts about something happening to the player. And plus, the Sonic ad, right? I almost forgot to mention this, but the Sonic ad literally says, I'm already on your PC. So that would imply that whoever made the game was already inside of the PC. They could have installed the ransomware and malware since the beginning. So waiting for the player to get to the very end of the game is just so weird. And it's almost like that I just had this thought. It's almost like it's some kind of program that it's not just a game, but it allows the creator to live interact with the player. Although that's kind of up for grabs. It could have just been a recorded message, but I mean, who knows? Now, lastly, this could be the definitive question for this entire video. I've decided to be a bit more organized about how I frame my points. My biggest point or biggest question is this. Actually, there's multiple questions, but ignore that. We all know that ransomware is more of a genre that everyone kind of just plays with. There is no actual canon dominant lore for ransomware, or rather there is no certain lore for the ransomware of this video besides what we're actually given, but it's the ambiguity of it that makes it feel more plausible. The plausibility of something being more alive inside the game becomes more real because of that ambiguity. And is it possible that the player met a similar fate and could end up like one of these 3 entities? Because something I didn't mention earlier is that there was only so many few animatronics. Look, we had Toy Chica, Toy Freddy, and they were like the really aggressive ones, and that was kind of it. We didn't see anybody else at all. Oh well, there was Mangle too, but I think she only showed up like once or twice. But then there was Withered Bonnie, so I guess you could say there was 4. 3 of them were fended off by the crucifix, and 1 was fended off by closing your eyes. It was the lack of animatronics for this game, and only specific choices that made me think, what if there's more to these things inside the game? What if there was a possibility that saying you are ruined and installing the ransomware was more than just something artificial, more than something that was just simple binary code and scripting? What if playing the game was a possible ritual to get you locked inside the game just like the rest of them, just to add you to his collection so he can have another victim, see another enemy or another lost soul inside the game. Okay, but I'll slow down because I'm digging into like multiple holes right now. But all the questions that I asked lie in the same idea. What is this game? I mean, the entire core of FNAF is about haunted animatronics and nightmares and technology that literally ruins people. Also, I'd like to mention as a quick bonus note that we can see the developer's face in the game while it's being played. And I didn't really have any connection to make to that, but I just kind of grew more suspicious. But yeah, you can do what you will with that information. I had no idea what to do with it at all. Actually, I just had a different idea. Or we could go to a totally different route, disregard at least like a quarter of the things I've said, and also go with a more plausible route that the player could be held captive. Not like in a physical sense, but it's very clear that the developer has a total control over their PC. Like their desktop is totally done for, and I don't know, like it just says pay or get robbed. So yeah, it's totally over for this person, but it's probably not going to stop there. It's probably going to stretch out to their families. This creator might, like this person might actually be very, very powerful. Like actually, because it says it's spreading to other devices, it could get information about them and their families, and the creator could get information about literally anything. So they might use that against the player to give them more money, or even worse, to make more corrupted ransomware for them. I don't know, it could be something like that. I'm just saying, because I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, because my first thoughts were this person is probably being attacked and this game is probably like alive and so, and a part of me still believes that theory that there could be something actually in this game. But I want to reach out for the other point that's actually very obvious with how badly the ransomware has corrupted their system, and I want to point out how it not only just corrupted their system and took their files, but they're actively being taunted. You know, it's not a normal thing for a ransomware to do. This is something much deeper, having the creator's face and logo all over their screen. But at this point, it genuinely looks like there's no hope for this person. Like I genuinely think there's nothing they can do, because after watching for the second time and seeing the absolute chaos from on the at the very end, I don't know, but I still think with all that we've gathered, how badly the creator wants their attention, with how demonic the entities are inside the game, with how things go, and how early access how early they could have corrupted their computer but chose to wait. It really was like they were completing some kind of ritual or cycle. But I think instead of a supernatural aspect of it being the player becoming a literal digital victim inside of the game like I was originally thinking, although that is definitely possible, it's also possible, even more possible, that something on the digital side is trying to corrupt the real world, basically, like the player and everybody on like the real 3D plane. In other words, I am saying that this developer doesn't just want money. Obviously, we can see that they completely took everything from their bank account and everything from, just took their whole lives away, probably took their social security card, like literally everything, just everything, their IDs, everything. I just wouldn't doubt it. But not only did they do that, they probably, like I said, extended it to other devices in their household, over their network. They probably could be infecting, they could be taking over their entire router, literally everything on the local area network. But I think after a long time of thinking, the reason why they want attention, and they say don't take your eyes off the screen, and I was talking about the attention mechanic, they want influence, they want recognition, they want to be feared, they want to be known for this. Usually a hacker or someone who's trying to get into your computer, they would want to be kind of low-key, they wouldn't want to be caught. But this developer, they made a game, they made it scary, they're trying to strike fear, trying to create trauma for the player. And whether there's a supernatural or demonic ritualistic side to it or not, I feel like that part is definitely undeniable. The custom design for the avatar, literally everything, it shows that this creator wants recognition. They want to be known for the horrors that they are committing, for the crimes that they're committing. They take pride in this. Now, the part where it gets more theoretical is that I feel like they could possibly, even though it's not stated anywhere else, it's not stated anywhere in the video, I feel like they could possibly be working with supernatural entities in some way, shape, or form, because I just feel like it's very odd to keep this consistent theme of, well, what you see in the entire video. I feel like there's just no other way you can actually put this. But then the question comes, why would he want such recognition for this? Why would he take such pride in this? What is he trying to build? Because if he takes pride in it, he's trying to build something. This is not his final goal. He does not stop here at all. But with that conclusion stated, I do have to say that my favorite theory or part of the theory, because there's like, it's multiple, it's not just one big thing, is the player like actually being involved with the game in a supernatural way, because it just feels like that. That's kind of how it feels, but in a more realistic sense, the player being used in some way by the creator, and the creator just wanting the creator wanting recognition is just, I think that's just undeniable. And when I reach for that more supernatural side of the theory, it's kind of like, even though it's more theoretical, it would make more sense with the lack of characters that are in there and with how demonic and corrupted that the game is. To me, when it comes to that part, it's all about infection rather than simple ransomware. So you could say there's two sides to this theories and connections part. But yeah, honestly, this is probably the best ransomware I've ever reviewed ever, honestly. So really make sure to go check out Cronus X. He's a really great content creator. I really hope to see more from him as well. And yeah, so we got FNAF from Davy Jones' locker, from hell, straight from hell. And yeah, just to conclude, I honestly think, like, even though it was just kind of more of the standard ransomware type of thing, I really do think there's something more to it. I really think something happened to the player. He got packed up or put inside the game or something. I don't know, something. But with that being said, I will see you on the next corner of the internet. Good night.